There's a new Gangplank tech that's all over social media, and the best part about it is it's guaranteed LP. Let's break it down. Welcome back for another breakdown. We're taking a look at the newest OP comp in this patch, Gangplank Reroll. It's a variation of it. It's got some mentors in there, it's got mighty mechs, but the main focus is 3 specific conditions to help you win with this build. Starting off with condition number 1, you need to have the stretchy arms power up. If you don't have that on your Gangplank, there's essentially no point playing this. You can't really guarantee yourself a top 4. You may squeak out a 5th, maybe a 4th, maybe a 6th here and there. You can use a different power up like warming up. We'll get to that in a bit later in the video. But the stretchy arms power up is necessary. It is prio number 1, condition number 1, and is absolutely necessary in this specific build and tech. Condition number 2 is to 3-star your GP. You need to have a 3-star Gangplank. The 2-star Gangplank is pretty strong early game, and it can get you through the middle stages. But once you make it to late game, if you haven't 3-starred your GP, even with stretchy arms, you need to have it 3-starred. Otherwise, you're just going to fall off. Rest of the lobby is going to beat you, the Karmas, the Casantes, etc, etc. Condition number 3 is a bit easier to pull off, but you essentially need 4 mentors. Obviously, the way mentor works, you need 1 or 4 on your board to be able to activate the trait. So you need the 4 mentor. You need that rise at level 7. The good news is you're going to be rolling a lot at level 7. So as you're rolling, hopefully ahead of tempo in terms of the lobby where everybody's saving to go fast 8, you rolling at 7, you should be able to find that rise, play that rise. You have the 4 mentor, GP comes online 3-starred with the stretchy arm power-ups, and you're smooth sailing. That's how this build really comes online. Those are the 3 conditions, the power-up, the 3-star, and the 4 mentor trait. Now let's dive into the specifics on how to make this build work for you. Okay, so everybody's currently talking about this build specifically. It was all over Reddit. There's an extensive guide posted on Reddit. A lot of Twitter users or X users have been reposting this build. They've been trying it out, challenger players, and they're all finding success with it. There was even a few players who spoke on using a different power-up, such as warming up, as an option if they didn't find stretchy arms, and still found success with this build. That's how strong Gangplank is. But this specific tech here, if you want to have a look at the full guide, I've linked it below in the description. It is an original Reddit post, and it just talks about how strong GP is and how to implement this build specifically with the specific win cons. So we're going to go over all of that. We're starting off with Gangplank and items. So for Gangplank, the specific S tier items in this build are Rageblade, IE, and then Kraken Slayer. Kraken Slayer is key because you need that attack damage. You want that attack speed with the Rageblade, and then obviously the IE gives you that critical strike damage. These items are S tier. You can also do the original variations of Gangplank. You can have Edge of Night if you need it, or if you can't build the other ones. You can have stuff like Bloodthirster. You can have Hodge in there, Striker's Flail. So those are some options, but they're not as strong. The 3 best in slot items you want are Rageblade, Kraken's, did I say Kraken Slayer? It's Kraken's Fury. Kraken's Fury. I'm still getting these names messed up since the changes. But Kraken's Fury and then IE. Those are the 3 main items that you want on GP. You need to prioritize them on Carousel, starting with Rageblade. The main part that makes this build great is ramping up your GP. Once it's 2-starred, once it's 3-starred, as you need to get as much damage out as possible. And you do that with the power-ups. We'll get to the power-ups in a second, because they are the main focus of this build in general. But having attack speed paired with the attack speed power up in stretchy arms and the extra range, it's like having a free sniper's focus essentially, and your GP just at range deletes boards. You're going to see this in action in the gameplay that we're viewing right now on screen. But give it a try yourself if you have the option. You're going to see how easy Gangplank erases boards. So those were the items for Gangplank. That's going to be your main carry. Your secondary carry and your absolute win con, in order to win out with this build specifically, is Yasuo. Yasuo's items are going to be kind of similar to GP's in the sense that you need Edge of Night, you need IE, and you need Striker's Flail. So, again, you can put a different couple variations. You can do Titans, you can do Bloodthirster, Sterix. So any kind of attack melee bruiser items, they all work. However, best in slot is Edge of Night, Striker's Flail, and then IE. It's going to be a little difficult to get all those gloves. So again, prioritize your items on GP, and then your secondary melee bruiser items can go on Yasuo. Now, your main tank is going to be Kabuko. Kabuko, you're going to want a 3-star as well with your GP when you're rolling down at 7. Your main goal here is in order of priority is GP, Kabuko, Yasuo. Yasuo is obviously the win con in order to win out the lobby, but if you 3-star your Kabuko and your GP, you're guaranteeing yourself a top 4 with this build. Now, Kabuko's your main tank. It can have main tank items, or they can have main tank items on them. So Warmogs, Kraken, or not Krakens, Giant Slayer, and Bramble's Vest. You can also put something like Sterix, or a kind of an attack sustain item for Kabuko. That works really well on them. Additionally, late game, you're going to want Even Shroud. Majority of your carries, so in Yasuo and Gangplank, are going to be doing attack damage. So you want that Sunder. You want the Even Shroud available on your board to help late game cut through those enemy tanks as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So those are your 3 main unit or item holders in Gangplank, Yasuo, and Kabuko. You can add some items on Udyr if you end up 3-starring Udyr. That's a completely high roll game when you get to that. Or you can put any AP items you have on your Rise. They do great damage from the backline. If you have a lot of rods, a lot of tiers, and you're not really getting the most ideal items for Yasuo as your secondary carry. So that is an option, and those are the items. Now we're going to move on to power-ups. Okay, power-ups are the key here. This is the number 1 condition like we went over. It's the most important part of the build, and you absolutely need to have stretchy arms on your Gangplank. So with Gangplank, you're going to want to save those power snacks removers for Gangplank. You only want to put your power-ups on Gangplank unless you're selling the unit itself. You can do that secret tech where you place it on a unit that shares traits or origin traits with Gangplank, and then kind of eliminate some of the redundant high percentage power-ups that are on Gangplank, so you have a better chance of obtaining the stretchy arm power-up on Gangplank. Good news is, it is a very common power-up on Gangplank. I believe Meta TFT has it at 15.6% chance of receiving that power-up, so you shouldn't find it too difficult of a task to obtain the power-up you want when it's stretchy arms. So just every time you get the power-ups, place it on Gangplank. Don't sell any Gangplanks, just use the removers. Chances are you are going to find stretchy arms. It is a must. It is something that you absolutely need for this build, but you should be able to find it with that 15.6% chance. Now, if you don't end up hitting stretchy arms, or if you have a power-up early game, you don't have a Gangplank, let's say you have a Nefiri, a Gnar, something to kind of hold yourself over, you can use the Midas Touch power-up. It is an extremely strong power-up early on. It even works well on GP early on if that's the first option you have. You want to save those power snack removers. Midas Touch executes the enemies below a certain percentage of health. I don't know it off the top of my head here. I believe it's 10 or 15%. I think it's 10%. And it gives you gold. The whole point of this build here, it's a gold generating build. We'll get to that a bit later. But having that Midas Touch early lets you hopefully win streak to save your gold, get up to that level 6, level 7 for the roll down, and it lets you generate some extra gold. Now, it's a great strong power up for through the first 2 stages, but once you have your 2-star GP, that's when you want to start going for that stretchy arms. Once you have that Rage Blade on them, once you have that IE on them. Warming up is the secondary option for GP. That is an option you can do. However, it's not ideal. You're not going to win out with it. Stretchy arms is the way to go. Now, with your second power up, you can be a little bit flexible here. You can go Yasuo if you end up 3-starring Yasuo with 3 items. You can go maybe Unflinching. Any kind of the Omnivamp power ups work well with Yasuo. Additionally, if you 3-star your Kabuko and you're a little bit behind on your Yasuo, you can put the power up on Kabuko. Ones that work well from this guide specifically is Unstoppable Kabuko or just any tank Kabuko power up. I believe Spiky Shell is what it's called. I might be wrong on the name there, but that is exceptionally good as well. Okay, let's talk final board real quick. Final board is extremely straightforward, but at level 7, chances are you are going to stay level 7 for the most part until you hit your 3-stars. You're going to want to hit that GP, that Kabuko, and the Yasuo at 3-star before you level up to level 8 to throw in something like a Yone for another Mighty Mech or a Jarvan. If you end up getting to level 9 somehow, that's exceptional, especially considering it's the reroll builds, but you can put in 2 Mighty Mechs. So you can have the Yone and a Jarvan, and that rounds up 5 Mighty Mech. But most of the time, you're going to be staying at level 7, rerolling, and your build's going to be 4 Mentor, 3 Mighty Mech. So you're going to have Gangplank, Aatrox, and Senna as your Mighty Mechs. You're not going to itemize Aatrox, you're not going to itemize Senna. They're just trait bots, but they are really good trait bots. Up front, you're going to have the 4 Mentors as well, with the exception of Rise. Of course, Rise is on the back line. That Executioner bonus as well from the Senna works really well on the Rise. But Yasuo, Udyr, Kabuko, and Ryze, that's your 4 mentor. Those are your 7. You have the Mighty Mech builds. You're positioning in that final board. You're going to want to have Gangplank not on the front line, so on that second row. The reason for that is as soon as they get ramped up with the power up, they start to get extra attack range. That extra attack range, it keeps them in the back. They don't need Edge of Night because of this, and they're able to just completely mow down the enemy lines because they're in that back line, or not back line, but second row. They don't need to take any damage from any tanks or any carries. That's the job of your Udyr, Yasuo, the Mighty Mech itself, and then your Aatrox. So that's your positioning. That's your final board. Like I mentioned, fairly straightforward. Level 7, you're going 3 Mighty Mech, you're going 4 Mentor, and then if you get to 8 or 9, you throw in more Mighty Mechs as you go. Okay, so the coolest part of the build, and my favorite, is Gangplank's ult. So because Gangplank gets a percentage chance to drop gold, you'll see from this video gameplay that you're watching in the background, you farm gold like no tomorrow. Especially if you start early game with the Midas Touch power up, you're just chain farming gold throughout the early game, even into the late game. It makes the reroll ability of this build so much easier. You don't even need an econ augment. We'll get to augments in a bit, but you farm gold like no tomorrow. That's why that Rage Blade is so important. You're able to cut through the enemy champions quick, start getting over to the next one, count each one as a takedown, and then you have a chance to get that gold. So that gold is the coolest part of the build. You farm it non-stop. You're able to make all your econ thresholds a lot easier. Okay, we're moving on to augments here. So augments is a little straightforward as well. Essentially, you're looking for item augments and then combat augments. You don't really need too much econ augments because majority of the game you are staying level 7 and you're re-rolling. Of course, Prismatic Ticket, Heroic Grab Bag are good options to have just to ensure that you hit the 3-star GP if you are contested. As you're seeing in this gameplay here, I was contested. Someone else had a 3-star GP and I still ended up hitting. So it's not too concerning if you don't have an econ augment and you're able to prioritize the extra items because you want the 2 carries in Yas and GP, or you do the combat augments to just make sure that you excel to the next level on your board late game and you don't fall off if you don't hit that 3-star Yas. Now, in terms of specific item augments, you can do Buried Treasures. That's a great prismatic augment. You can do something like Overheal. Overheal is great for combat as your GP will essentially get access shield. Additionally, Sword Overflow is really great. You can do Sparring Gloves because you need a lot of gloves available there. You can even do Keepers. Keepers is a really strong augment for the Duelist build version of this. However, it does translate well here as well. Essentially, strong combat augments, any kind of critical strike or prismatic combat augments, those work well. But again, best in slot, you want Buried Treasure, you want Sword Overflow, you want Overheal, you want Keepers. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit of the actual strategy here. So in early game, you're going to play strongest board available. So you can play a Lucian with Mighty Mechs. You can play Jhin. Jin's very strong right now. Any kind of melee carry, so like Gnar. You can play Neferi. You can go heavyweights, 4 heavyweights up front early game because you don't really want to play 3 mentor, 2 mentor. You can, however, as you see in this gameplay, I did play mentor without the buff. That's totally fine as well. You just have to get to the point where you can find that Ryze and get 4 mentor in there. But there's a lot of different options. You don't want to handcuff yourself, so you don't want to play the 3 or 2 mentor every single time. You can just keep Kabuko in there early game, have some heavyweights along with them with GP, maybe pair it with another duelist. That is a strong early game to get you to where you need to be. You don't need to be exceptionally strong. You don't need to be the strongest in the lobby. GP, regardless, will carry you through much of the mid game if you have it 2-starred. So let's talk strategy and how to actually get them 2-starred. So you're going to save your gold early game. Like I mentioned, you're playing best board, heavyweights, GP, whatever you end up getting. However, at level 6, above 50 gold, you're going to roll a little bit just to make sure you 2-star that GP. You're going to want to get as many mentors as you can, maybe a 2-star Kabuko. You want to ensure you have a strong board to let you reroll so you don't bleed out through that stage 3, stage 4. Now, once you have that 2-star GP, chances are that'll sustain you enough. You end up ecoing back up, leveling above 50 gold until you hit level 7. Once you're at level 7, you're going to reroll at level 7. The reason why you reroll at level 7 and not level 6 is you also want to see a Ryze and your Yasuo. If you're rolling at 6, you're never going to see that Ryze. You're going to be below tempo a lot. a lot of the game, and you're just going for that Kabuko and that Yas. You're basically handcuffing yourself against the Rise, or not, excuse me, Yas, but Kabuko and the GP. You're handcuffing yourself against the Yasuo and the Rise. By going level 7 and then rolling down at 7, chances are you're starting your roll before a lot of people hit level 8. By doing so, you're going to see a lot more 4 costs as well. So the 4 costs that you see, chances are you're going to get an early Rise. Once you have that Rise, you play Rise in there, you get that 4 Mentor, you can get rid of your heavyweight start, and then you start rolling above 50 at level 7 for that 3-star GP, that 3-star Kabuko, that 3-star Yas, and hopefully a 2-star Rise. If you hit a 2-star Rise, you're smooth sailing, you're good to go. But that's the strategy. You want to roll at level 7. You stay at level 7 most of the game. If you end up at level 7 the whole way, that's cool too. The goal is to get that 3-star GP. That's the best case scenario for this build. Okay, and that's pretty much the build. That was the breakdown section of it. We're going to hop into the gameplay analysis here just to go over a few different minute things. However, if this is the end of the road for you, make sure you subscribe for more meta breakdowns. Otherwise, let's go into the gameplay. Okay, we're breaking down the gameplay portion of it here now. As you're seeing throughout the entire game, I was contested. So I just recently got online with this 3-star GP. Hopefully, in your games, it's not going to go like this. If you get a 3-star GP a lot earlier, you will be significantly better and you'll have more health in the late game. You can see I'm on stage, 5-5 there. I'm sitting in 3rd place. Had a couple round losses, a couple round wins with the 3-star GP as I was very late to come online. But the good news is I was able to find the stretchy arms power up, and you can just watch and see how strong that power up is. GP just sits a couple hexes behind everybody and melts through the back line. It is absolutely insane how strong GP is. I melted that person, and this is stage 5-5. I had almost all of my units still alive on my board. It is an exceptional build. Don't mind the thumbnail. We're at the thumbnail portion of the gameplay. Of course, when I jump in to explain the gameplay, I'm zooming in for thumbnails. But regardless, I have the 4 Mentor in. Having that 4 Mentor, whatever. Having that in at stage 4, stage 3, as soon as you get that Rise, it's such a big power boost that you almost want to get to level 7 as soon as possible so you can roll down and find that Rise. I did get really lucky and I got that Rise early. Look, another slap. This build is crazy. If you can force this build right now in the current meta and it's completely uncontested, it's, like I mentioned, a guaranteed top 4. You're in there without even a sweat. Even when I was contested, I got top 4 and it wasn't even a sweat. So this build it's insane. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you get that 4 Mentor 3-star GP in as soon as possible, as quickly as you can. If you're uncontested, your chances are you're smooth sailing to a 1st. There are some high roll builds if you run into a Crystal Gambit, completely cashed out, super strong with the 3-star Swain, 2-star Ashe. You may not beat that. You'll see here where I finish. I end up finishing 2nd as well. There's a build I can't beat, but I did come online a lot later. So there's a few different kind of scenarios given each game. As obviously it's RNG, so it all depends on how your game goes, how your itemization goes. You can see I itemized Udyr instead of Kabuko. That's a mistake on my end that I should have went for the 3-star Kabuko. However, because I had the 3-star Udyr, I just itemized them. And it seems like on cue, after just saying that, we lose to a 3-star Swain. So I mean, that's essentially how this game goes. The Crystal Gambit is insanely strong right now. Stay tuned potentially for a Crystal Gambit video. But enjoy how this one plays out. We're nearing the end of it. About a minute left in the video. If you guys made it this far and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe below or like the video. Even comment. Let me know how this build is working for you. It helps me a lot. And hopefully these builds help you. And we're looking forward to set 15, going through all these niche builds that come through either Reddit, through Twitter, Challenger players, just kind of through the pipeline. And I'll bring it in hopefully a digestible format for you guys to help you excel through TFT Set 15. Now, again, let me know how this build works for you in the comments. You're going to see here I end up finishing 2nd. I believe I lose to the 1st place person, but the 3rd place guy lost as well. I ended up finishing 2nd here. So enjoy the last little bit of this video, the last fight to see me lose. However, this build is exceptional. If you get a chance to try it and you 3-star that GP, please do so. Let me know how it goes for you. I can't stress this enough. It is a great build. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Again, like this video if you haven't already, and good luck on the grind. Take it easy.